behind us. And the center it lurks a supermassive black hole, dining on any stars that wander too close. Disasters that afflict Earth and life on Earth. Volcanoes, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, disease, pestilence.
For as long as humanity has looked up, there was always one point in the night sky we could count on. One star that never moved, no matter how the heavens turned. It was always there, steady, silent, unwavering. Polaris, the North Star. To sailors lost at sea, it was hope. To ancient kings and farmers, it was guidance. To us now, it was just always there, but not anymore. It's gone, and it didn't just fade or dim or shift quietly into the dark. It exploded. When Neil deGrasse Tyson stepped in front of the cameras to confirm it, the world didn't seem to know how to process it. You could hear it in his voice, that careful, measured cadence he uses when the truth is too large to say all at once. Polaris has gone supernova, he said. That fixed point we once trusted with our direction, our certainty, is no longer shining, and something terrifying is unfolding in its place. Even before the explosion, there had been signs. Brief flickers, changes in light, anomalies so slight they were easy to overlook. Astronomers noticed, of course, and they always do. But no one expected this. Not from Polaris. Not now. Imagine this. A star that stood watch over humanity for thousands of years, suddenly tearing itself apart in a blaze so violent it rivals the energy of a billion suns. That kind of destruction doesn't just vanish into the vacuum of space. It echoes. It reaches. It shakes the fabric of everything nearby. And Polaris wasn't just any star. It was close. In galactic terms, practically next door. The light of its death reached us only recently, but the force behind it, the radiation, the wave of energy, the raw cosmic fury, that's still coming, still building, and no one knows exactly what it will do when it gets here. But Tyson wasn't just talking about physics. He wasn't reciting equations. He was trying to help us understand the loss. Because Polaris wasn't just a star, it was a constant. It was something we believed wouldn't change. Not in our lifetime, not in 1,000. And that belief, that fragile illusion of permanence, died with it. The skies will never look the same again. Already things are shifting. Migratory birds, sea turtles, and nocturnal animals, creatures that relied on Polaris like we did, are beginning to lose their way. Some researchers have noticed odd behavior in flocks and species that seem suddenly confused, directionless, as if the natural compass that guided them through their ancient patterns has vanished overnight. And while our GPS satellites can keep us on track for now, there's a deeper unease, one that technology can't soothe. It's the realization that even the universe's most enduring landmarks are temporary, that there are no real constants, only moments. Polaris died, and in doing so, it reminded us how small we are, how much we still don't know. But Tyson's announcement didn't end with sorrow. He spoke of strange signals, rhythmic pulses, anomalies in the radiation, the kind of details that make scientists whisper and theorists lose sleep. He called them unsettling. That's the word that keeps echoing in people's minds. Unsettling, not just because something massive has changed, but because something else may have begun. A chain reaction, a ripple, a question whispered by the universe itself. What else is coming? Whatever Polaris left behind, be it a neutron star, a black hole, or something we've never seen before, it's not quiet, it's not still, and it's not done. The night has lost its anchor, and something strange is now unfolding where our compass used to point. We are watching the sky not with wonder, but with fear. In the days following the announcement, something changed in the way people looked at the sky. It used to be comfort, familiarity. Now there's hesitation, an ache we can't quite name. The absence of Polaris isn't just visual, it's emotional. Like walking into your childhood home and finding it empty. The walls still stand, but the soul, it's gone. Telescopes around the world pivoted in unison toward the region where Polaris once burned. What they found wasn't clarity, it was chaos. Streams of data came pouring in. Intense neutrino spikes, erratic bursts of gamma radiation, shockwaves so powerful they were warping the fabric of space around them. This wasn't the neat, symmetrical supernova scientists had modeled in simulations. This was something different, something angry. And then the signal started. Soft at first, barely noticeable amid the noise, but soon they grew, louder, clearer, unsettlingly precise. Radio observatories picked up rhythmic pulses from the heart of the explosion. Not random static, not background chatter, but a pattern, something that repeated, beat for beat, like a mechanical heart left pumping in the void. Tyson hinted at it in his statement, a frequency that didn't match any known natural phenomenon. Too ordered, too intentional. Theories began to swirl, first in the corners of online forums, then behind closed doors at observatories. Some whispered of a magnetar, one of the most magnetic objects in the universe, spinning rapidly and throwing off waves of radiation like a lighthouse. But others weren't so sure. There was something off about it, something intelligent. No one dared say it outright, not in public. But in the back rooms of scientific communities, people asked the question, what if this wasn't just a death? What if it was an invitation? Of course, the mainstream rejected the notion. Polaris was a dying star. Stars die. That's what they do. But the combination of the structured signals and the strange asymmetry of the explosion unsettled even the most seasoned astrophysicists. There were elements in the spectral data that shouldn't be there. Absences where there should have been energy. Presence where there should have been nothing. One senior researcher reportedly muttered, "It's like something took control of the moment." As humanity watched and listened, more layers of mystery unfolded. Instruments aboard orbital observatories detected gravitational distortions near the blast site, subtle but measurable, as if the space surrounding Polaris had been stretched, pinched, pulled into shapes we couldn't visualize. That's when the whispers of a black hole grew louder. If Polaris had collapsed into one, it would be among the closest black holes ever discovered. And if that's true, if we now share a neighborhood with something that devours light and bends time, then our understanding of danger has just shifted dramatically. But even that wasn't the most disturbing discovery. Somewhere in the wake of the explosion, embedded deep in the data, came another anomaly. A pulse. Not electromagnetic, not gravitational. Something else entirely. A signature that didn't fit any known category. Tyson called it an echo of purpose. A phrase so carefully chosen, it sent chills down the backs of those who understood what he meant. Because a purpose implies an origin, and an origin suggests intent. For now, no one can say what caused it. It could be a natural resonance, a rare byproduct of complex astrophysical forces colliding in chaos. Or it could be something else, something watching, something waiting, a presence we never expected so close to home. Whatever the truth may be, one thing is clear. The death of Polaris is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of a question so large, so terrifying, that even the brightest minds of our age can barely bring themselves to ask it aloud. And the silence left behind feels heavier than any answer. In the absence of Polaris, the sky feels broken. There's no obvious tear, no hole you can point to, but something is missing, something fundamental. Even those who never knew its name say the night looks different now, like a puzzle missing its center. It's not just stargazers and scientists feeling the loss. It's pilots, children, farmers, elders. People who never once paused to think about Polaris are now waking in the middle of the night, staring out their windows with a quiet sense of unease, unable to name the reason why. Maybe it's because we've always believed the stars were beyond us, untouchable, immortal. But now one of them is gone. And it wasn't just any star. It was the star, the one that told us where we were, who we were, where to go when everything else was lost, the one light that refused to move. And now it's vanished in fire, and something is coming in its place. Tyson ended his announcement with a warning, not dramatic, not theatrical, but heavy with the kind of weight that lingers long after the camera's cut. He said, "We are no longer passive observers of the cosmos. We are participants, and the universe has just reminded us of that. Those words hit harder than data, because they strip away the illusion that space is distant and safe, that we can study it without consequence. Polaris exploding isn't just a tragedy, it's a message. The timing, the proximity, the anomalies, it all feels too precise. And for the first time, even the skeptics are starting to ask, what if we're being watched? Not in a paranoid science fiction way, but in the quiet, unsettling possibility that something out there noticed us before we were ready. Something that knew we were looking. Across the globe, the emotional weight of Polaris's death is colliding with the scientific urgency of understanding it. Satellites are adjusting, data is streaming in, and supercomputers are running simulations nonstop. But nothing feels fast enough, because for all our advancements, all our breakthroughs, we were caught off guard. And now we're racing to understand an event that already happened, trying to decode a cosmic scream after it's been shouted across the void. In the silence, old fears begin to creep in. If Polaris could die suddenly, what about Betelgeuse? Rigel? Sirius? What other stars are quietly building toward an end we won't see coming? Are there others already gone, their death lights still racing toward us through the black? The illusion of safety is crumbling, and in its place we're left with a fragile kind of wonder. Equal parts fear and awe. But even in the dark, not everything is despair, because Polaris, in its final breath, may have given us a gift, a glimpse into something we've never seen before, a chance to understand how stars die, how black holes form, how the very fabric of space responds when something that massive rips itself apart. For scientists, this is the kind of event that comes once in 100 lifetimes, a moment of unparalleled opportunity wrapped in chaos and dust. And maybe, just maybe, it's a reminder that for all our pride, all our certainty, we are still children under the stars. We don't own the sky. We don't command the cosmos. We witness it. We listen. And sometimes when the stars decide it's time, we learn. The hardest way possible. So now we wait, with our instruments tuned and our eyes lifted, watching the space where Polaris once stood, hoping to understand what's left behind and what's coming next. Because something is moving in the dark. Whether it's natural or not, whether it's threat or revelation, we cannot yet say. But the night has changed, and nothing, not science, not history, not even our myths, can make it familiar again. We have stepped into a new sky, and we are not alone in it.